The NIA had discovered the planning headquarters of the latest conspiracy simply by tailing some of its members. Top Secret was given the job of discovering the plans inside their computers and in a way that would provide for a continuing source of information. Someday, an airstrike could take out this entire planning building, but only after all its operatives in the field were dead. Their computer network was only internal, so there was no way to hack in. A member had to physically come to the building to learn or update his part. The director had access to the total plan, continually going over it and updating it. The building was impenetrable. Members not only had brain chip implants, but there were umpteen levels of retina scans and fingerprint identification as one progressed through the more secure levels of the building. It wasn't like Top Secret could gouge out a chip, an eyeball, and cut off a finger off a member, for not only would this arouse suspicion, but she would look mighty silly holding up an eyeball and a fingertip at the various checkpoints. Anyway, there was also the facial recognition. The computers also had several levels of unbreakable passwords, so she couldn't just ask some cleaning maid to take a look. Hypnotizing a member was out of the question as well, the built-in chip preventing it. Nor could she read the computer monitor's radio transmissions as usual from outside of the building, since they used shielding techniques called Tempest on the monitors and even on the building itself. In addition, the new flat panel screens used low voltage and didn't scan images one line at a time. She may have been able to detect the emanations from the keyboard typing, for each key emits a unique radio wave signature when pressed, but the typing consisted of mostly navigational type actions through the database, which, anyway, had been typed in many separated pieces from many planners. Plus, there was the building's emission shielding, so she really needed to see what was in the database at the director's level, not his actual typing, which, even if some few lines were important, would end up in the database anyway.
Nor could she just look in the window somehow, for not only were the backs of the computers always facing the windows, the blinds were usually drawn, and the offices of the director and his important vice presidents were on the 6th floor. So a fake window washer person hanging outside their offices every day surely would not work. Besides, they even had a privacy screen wrapping around their computers to prevent even any accidental view, even from off to the side. So what good would it do anyway to see the backside of a computer, for it reveals nothing? Now, was this a difficult assignment or what? No, it was easy, and she didn't even need any futuristic state-of-the-art million-dollar magical-type super surveillance system. Could she use the CIA satellite? No, for it couldn't see through a building very well, and even if it could, a computer monitor would not be horizontal to it, but vertical. Could she kidnap the director? No, for he lived in the building 24/7. Top Secret was ready. To do what? See the back of a computer? No, the front. She would get into the database whenever the director did, for his mere looking at the secret data would give it away. Telepathy? No. Any other kind of weird emissions? Nope. She checked out a $10,000 telescope from the NIA stockroom and rented a space on the 6th floor in the building across the street. She didn't even have to bribe a maid to bend a slat in the director's blinds, for they did not quite reach all the way across, plus sometimes he forgot to close them or left them partway open. His wraparound screen would even increase the brightness of the reflection on the viewer's eyes. However, a not yet invented Mack truck-sized telescope and full computer setup would be required for this kind of eyeball reading, since eyeballs are rarely still for more than a second or two, plus the eye saccades all over the place, and so the complicated deconvolution mathematical functions used by astronomical observatories to remove the blur would not be good enough from this far away. So that technology wouldn't work. It only worked on close-up photos, NIA having used it to see the room reflected that a terrorist was speaking from. Now what? Too bad the director didn't wear glasses, for then she could have focused on those and perhaps recorded and photographed the reflections and simply reversed them. However, they too would have moved around too much, with the head motions plus the glare and the lens thickness playing many tricks. Was this assignment now getting really tough? No. Easy. She was just thinking out loud, already knowing the best method and remaining patient for it. In the meanwhile, she would try a new experimental procedure first, just for fun.
As Top Secret sat diligently observing, there was a slight buzz coming towards her. Just a fly? Nope. This was of her own design, her little missionary that could go many places that she could not. She smiled and gave a short whistle. Her little pet was going to go inland on the director. As she gave the pet a little tweak on his instrument panel and gave words of encouragement, the little fly took his leave and buzzed off through the vast maze of air ventilation shafts. It would reach the director in only a few moments. This was it. The fly buzzed around the director, annoying buzzing in and out of his range of vision. Just then the director swatted at it. Mission accomplished, top secret focused, through the lenses of the fly's eyes. The eyes were microscopic cameras that as the director swatted at the fly, they had been knocked off of the fly as planned. With the concrete like glue, the microscopic lenses were all over the director's head. Only 3 had made it to a decent position, enough to see the computer screen as the director himself did. The screen grew out of its fuzziness to crystal clarity. They had some of what they needed now. The brilliant solution by Top Secret had tested the feasibility of the electronic spy bug technique. However, as expected, the director went to the restroom to wash his face. The bug's getting scrubbed off, but at least she had a good view of the men's room for a while. Even worse, the director shut his window since the actual bugs of spring were flying all over and looking for lovely flowers to pollinate. But he did leave his blinds up. They did get a bit of info, but that was only the beginning, so Top Secret teleported back with her medium-sized telescope and looked some more. Her real chance would come soon. She knew that someday this place might just get vaporized if their plans were lethal enough. But, as Rascal hinted, then the remnants would just reform somewhere else unknown. At least NIA knew where this place was, and that it was drawing evil to it like a magnet. Any and all arrivals and departures were being tracked and photographed by other NIA members, who then fed the facial images into the Apple Mac computer iPhoto program, which had a facial recognition feature. Top Secret sat patiently waiting, for the director was on his way. She knew she would get it right this time. Aha, there he is, thought Top Secret. She watched as the director moved around getting his folders. He walked to his seat and sat. Now with him out of the telescope's view, Top Secret patiently waited. Not much longer, thought she. The door to the director's inner sanctum opened. In walked the director's personal office assistant, and personal aide for that matter. She walked over and spoke to the director. She gave him his morning tea. It sat steeping as she walked out. Top Secret waited patiently.
Finally, the director poured himself a steaming cup. At last. She focused in on the cup's surface. From there, she sent the signal to Rascal and the information started to flood into the agency's databanks. How perfect. The surface of the teacup reflecting the image of the computer screen. She grinned that Cheshire Cat smile and contacted Quester. Success. Quester relayed the full report, adding to it somewhat from her personal revelations. She had first looked through the telescope for a bigger and better reflection surface, such as a wall clock, a whiteboard, a wine glass, even a silver spoon. Nearly any shiny surface worked, but curved surfaces worked best because they revealed wide swatches of the room, eliminating the need for the peeper to find a lucky and direct sweet spot wherein the reflected screen was visible. However, the director was not going to be drinking wine at work, and there was no clock on the wall. In fact, the wall behind him was empty and was even painted black. Top Secret kept looking around. Nothing. This was supposed to be easy. It would be. Patience, she thought. Several minutes passed like slowly dying worms crawling in molasses in Death Valley. A personal assistant entered the director's office, pouring a cup of tea for him and then placing the teapot back down, where it would likely stay or be replaced to after refills. Top Secret focused on the shiny silver teapot or the teacup, whichever was more useful at the time. Yes, there was his computer screen reflected in it. Top Secret's camera rolled the video and the photos clicked away as well. NIA would reverse and straighten the images. People had to drink. A coffee mug would have worked too, as it did when the director worked late. The plans of evil came rolling in, those tempests in a teapot day by day, via the simple use of a human eye defeating all the conspiracy's high-tech countermeasures. Thousands of years come and gone, they say, ni hao ever yet a forbidden paradise today. Old Rascal, at the edge of forever, sat upon his porch of the temple of the Forbidden City on the Forbidden Isle of Nihao at midnight, looking up into the starry sky, and then thought, what inky void of space shall we now have to cross? Answers. Science discovers the truth everywhere. Religion just makes for bigger questions. Philosophers just sit around in chairs. Evolution explains how we got somewheres.